you're coming into the lobby. This would be waiting area and waiting area. Okay. There'll be a centralized reception service here. The big innovation sign goes on the back side here. You know, centralized secretarial, reception, greeting, kind of a general office manager, if you will. North side of the building is wet labs, central core, and then dry labs. So this is a closed-in conference room, so we're right here you have a glass wall that we would be able to see. Our conference room, I think what we went for, it seats about 22, the biggest conference room. We've got 3. They get it for free. Can use it whenever they want to. We'll just have a schedule and we'll be able to use it. You know, where you've just passed by, you'll have a common badge to get into this area. So general population can't come in, but anyone who's a tenant will badge into this location. When you move into the lab environment, now you'll have a unique badge, and only people who belong into that lab will be able to go in here. So we now badge into the lab. Now this is our largest lab that we have available on the wet side. How we really envision this one being is probably a multi-purpose lab. You might have 5 or 6 or 8 different companies in here that want to pay $200 and need a bench. They don't need a whole lab, they need a bench. So as you walk in, you can see this one actually has a double office suite. This will be a glass door that comes into the office suite. And the offices even are completely built out with furniture. So you'll have your chair, your high-speed internet, your...
So it's turnkey.
Turnkey. Literally, you walk in with your principal investigation and your business cards and you're ready to work. So now we walk into the wet lab itself. And this, of course, is the one that's featured in our brochure. So sink and sink, completely wet on both sides. And then as we move in through this area, the lab furniture will be provided. So you have lab bench, lab bench, lab bench, lab bench. And somebody could actually just lease 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet, 1 lab bench, whatever they need as they go through. And this is, oh, it's gone. Darn it, come here, I'll show you. They were going to let me paint it over. The Intel colors are gone. They just painted them over. So they were going to, that's going to be me that got to that last light. Of course, the infrastructure is exactly what was here when Intel was here. It's the chilled water lines, the compressed air lines, the vacuum lines, and of course the piped-in nitrogen. And this is served by the piped-in nitrogen, by the ultra-pure nitrogen line that runs under Price Road. And of course the wastewater return delivery systems. This is one of the standard labs. So you'll see as you go in, you've got just a single office. And this would be where, you know, the investigator and his support staff would be located. And a single seat. And then on the wall, whether we choose to, I'm not sure which side of the thing, I'm really confident it's this side, but I could be wrong. It'll have a fume hood also built in as part. Every lab will have a fume hood built in as part of its equipment as we go forward. And we've got the labs just continuing. You see huge amounts of power. Kind of the biggest thing that you don't want to do is have to have the electrical boxes fit the lab. You want the lab, you have the lab fit the electrical box, you want the electrical box fit the lab. So we just went bonkers and just did a huge number of them. So if you've got a microscope that needs to be plugged in, you don't have to move the microscope. Everything you need will be very, very close. Of course, the labs were designed by scientists. So they knew what we're missing in other areas, and they did a phenomenal job at really identifying how this was going to build out.
A lot of thought went into this.
Well, and even down to this level, you'll notice this isn't a standard door size. Because at a standard door size, you can't get the equipment in. But you also don't want to be opening double doors and dealing with all of that on a constant basis. So these are doors on the third. The third stays static. The door opens and closes unless you need to move equipment in. This is, I jokingly call it the cafegimatorium. This is the cafeteria.
That's a catch-all.
That's a catch-all. They can have impromptu meetings. This is where the refrigerators and the counters and the microwaves and the vending machines will all be. Ultimately, we really hope that we, working with one of the entrepreneurial programs, whether it's the Culinary Institute or McGuire or ASU, to find a student who is interested or programmed to become a chef or a caterer and let them take over the space for free and provide food services to the entire center.
Great idea. It kills 2 birds with 1 stone.
It does. It continues that entrepreneurial spirit and provides hopefully really great food for us. This is our shared lab area. This is where you'll find the incubator and the autoclave and the centrifuge. You know, centralized pieces of equipment that these small companies can't afford on their own, but we've gotten donations from the hospitals and our tech employers, and we'll be able to provide for that so they can register to use. I need to use the centrifuge at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, and that's an extra service that can be provided on that menu. This is actually will be a sales facility for bio and high-tech equipment, so you won't have to go off-site to get your sharps or your Petri dishes or your pieces of whatever you need. We're contracted with a group, a sales group that will work out of here, but then also act as the FDA compliance officer for the facility for free. Now as we go back, you can see this isn't built out yet.
Right.
This is what we just went forward to City Council with on Monday for University of Arizona. So University of Arizona will have all of this space all the way around, and then taking their own lab that's right there. It's about 7,000 square feet that they're taking. This is where the minus 30 and where the nitrogen tanks will be. So you can either do a storage in the, you need ultra cold storage, then liquid nitrogen will be in here. If you need a frozen banana, that'll be in here. If we need a bake sale to kind of bring it back up again. This is the biological waste storage and the hazmat storage. So this is where everyone will bring their materials to, and then a centralized pickup will come and pick up everything. It's an additional cost for your waste pickup, but it's not like you each have to coordinate all of your own. We'll have centralized biological waste pickup. And this is the data room. One of the significant things that we've been able to provide that most incubators don't is a server room. So 2 oversized racks, so you can bring your own servers in, all cooled and secured, and then you hook up to your own server, partitioned off, and firewall the way that you need it. Or you can utilize our servers that we'll have. Now this is one of the things that I like best about Innovations. This is a seating area. This will be sofas and tables and lights and TV on the wall. This is where people can sit out and have their cup of coffee. They don't have to stay in their lab. They can read the paper. They can have an impromptu meeting without having to schedule a conference room. Now this is set aside and protected as a classroom. Not sure at the end of the day what it will be, years from now, but here in the beginning, this is where the lab tech program will take place. Okay. So the interns from University of Arizona and ASU, the bio programs, as we have the speakers on the weekly brown bag lunches, as we have presenters that come in, as we have educators that come in, this will be set up as complete classroom space. And anybody can use it anytime they want to use it. So let's say you're bringing in a group of venture capitalists and you need to make a presentation.
You have access.
There you go. Now this is the dry lab side.
Okay.
Now the dry lab side, the difference of course between the dry lab and the wet lab side is the gases aren't piped in today and the sinks aren't here today. Because you don't know what the space wants to be. If you're a medical device company and you use only boutique gases, you don't need the nitrogen line, you don't need the vacuum line. But with thinking, because of how expensive it is to go back and do the work, we stubbed everything. As you can see, here's your sinks. As you can see, here's your gas lines. They run straight over, and they're all stubbed right to the top. So let's say somebody needs it, all we do, or let's say we have a great success with the wet lab side and not the dry lab side. They're ready to drop down, and away we go. We can do any gas closets, boutique closets. The fume hoods can be over here as well if they need them. Any power, the power in this building is amazing. There's a substation right on site. The building also has access to the docks, and part of our lease agreement we negotiated, we have a shared dock access. So we have the grade level, we have truck wells, and we have a leveler to bring in any equipment for shipping, and there's also a common shipping and receiving area. So if you've got goods coming and going, or you're packaging up your product to get it out of here, a completely set up shipping area is also provided. This side will also have a copier and a fax machine and mail pickup, because we didn't want the tenants on this side of the building having to go all the way around to use the photocopier. So it's dual provider on each side. One of the things that we've really tried to stick to is to make it as flexible as possible, but to also make it so that we can fit the model that a company's designed already. We don't want to be going back and causing challenges for companies by tearing up a wall or the vibrations that go along with it. So we really have a program in place, and we're really going to stick with that program.